Welcome to today's Explainer. Let's jump right in. I want you to picture a company that has just become an absolute giant. We're talking massive glass towers dominating the skyline. State-of-the-art factories, constantly humming. Revenue is soaring, profits are up, and the investors, well, they are popping champagne. Banks are literally fighting each other for the chance to lend this titan more money. To the outside world, this company looks completely unstoppable. But behind that explosive growth, there's a hidden engine running. They're borrowing. Constantly, using debt to fund every new factory, every huge acquisition. Today, we're unpacking exactly how leverage destroys successful companies, and how a literal mountain of debt can flip explosive growth into a desperate fight for survival.
Because here is the harsh truth. Debt doesn't care how successful you look. For a while, a highly leveraged strategy absolutely works. The numbers look amazing, the stock price goes to the moon, and everyone thinks that good times are just going to roll forever. But then, a subtle shift happens. Right, maybe interest rates tick up, a project gets delayed, or cash flow gets just a little bit tight. And suddenly, the ticking clock of interest payments starts getting really, really loud. The exact same debt that built the empire becomes an anchor dragging it straight to the bottom of the ocean. When the bill comes due and the cash isn't there, the narrative flips overnight. Growth turns into survival, and success can rapidly turn into a total collapse.
Act 1. The seduction of debt. So, how does a highly successful business actually get into this position in the first place? You know, every great company starts with a dream, to build something, sell it, and grow. But eventually they face that classic, incredibly expensive question. What is our next big move? And how on earth do we pay for it? Let's say our company is doing great, pulling in 100 crore in revenue every single year, but their next dream is a massive, state-of-the-art factory that costs 500 crore. Now, they obviously don't have 500 crore just sitting idle in a checking account, so they make what seems like a totally logical choice. They take out their very first bank loan. They build the factory, production shoots up, revenue grows. It looks like a brilliant, game-changing decision. Without that loan, it might have taken a decade of saving to build that factory. With it, they expanded today. That first loan is like rocket fuel for growth. But here's the catch, it creates a highly addictive cycle. Borrow, build, grow, repeat. The factory is a massive hit, investors are thrilled, the bankers are patting them on the back. So the executives think, hey, why stop here? Let's build another one. Let's enter a new country. Let's buy out our biggest competitor. Soon enough, borrowing isn't just a one-off necessity, it becomes the default playbook for literally every single new project. The company is growing at lightning speed, sure, but their debt is growing right there with it. And that brings them to a very dangerous tipping point. Continued growth now depends entirely on borrowing, and borrowing depends entirely on continued growth.
Act 2. The leverage trap. We are officially entering the danger zone. This aggressive borrowing strategy means the company is completely dependent on the future going perfectly according to plan. Think about a massive 1,000 crore balance sheet. On the surface, they look incredibly powerful. But peel back the layers, and you find that 700 crore of that is actually debt. Only 300 crore is their own capital. So, a massive chunk of their very foundation is built entirely on money they owe to someone else. They are highly leveraged. Now, as long as profits keep rising, they look like absolute geniuses. But what happens when the wind changes direction?
Well, that is the mathematical trap of leverage. In good times, debt magnificently multiplies your returns. But in bad times, debt mercilessly magnifies your losses. Imagine the economy slows down and the company's revenue suddenly drops by 20%. The terrifying reality is that the bank just doesn't care. The bank isn't going to call and say, hey, times are tough, don't worry about the loan this month. No way. Your interest payments are fixed and they are still due immediately. That instantly evaporates the company's financial flexibility. The more debt a company carries, the absolutely less room it has to survive any sort of unexpected bump in the road.
Act 3. Profit is not cash.
Okay, this brings us to what is arguably the single most critical distinction in all of corporate finance. It catches so many people off guard, but understanding it is key to seeing exactly how leverage destroys successful companies. You can look incredibly wealthy on paper and still go completely bankrupt. Profit is not cash. A company can report massive accounting profits and literally struggle to keep the lights on. Imagine our company just sold 1,000 crore worth of products to customers on credit. The accounting books, they look phenomenal. High revenue, massive profit. But if those customers haven't actually paid their invoices yet, the actual cash received in the bank account is zero. Meanwhile, the bank wants its interest payment today.
Employees need their paychecks today. Suppliers are knocking on the door today. You cannot pay a bank with accounting profits. You can only pay them with cash. And when the cash hasn't arrived, that mountain of debt becomes a lethal threat.
But hey, a company doesn't just collapse out of nowhere. There are almost always warning signs. And if you're an investor, these are the critical red flags you need to watch for. First, debt starts rising much faster than revenue. Second, interest expenses quietly creep up, eating whatever cash is left. Third, profit margins start to shrink under the crushing weight of those payments. And finally, the ultimate red flag, the refinancing loop. This is when the company starts taking out brand new loans, literally just to pay off their older loans. They're not borrowing to build factories anymore. They're borrowing just to survive the week.
Act 4. Hitting the debt wall. This is the perfect storm moment. Most corporate giants don't fall because of one isolated mistake. It's usually a combination of factors hitting a highly leveraged company all at the exact same time. Think of it as a debt wall. Imagine our company has borrowed 10,000 crore over the years. Now, that money doesn't all come due on a Tuesday. The loans mature over time, some in 1 year, some in 3 years, some in 5. Normally, a company just rolls this over and refinances when those dates hit. But what if market confidence vanishes? What if interest rates skyrocket or credit markets just freeze and refuse to lend? Suddenly, the company hits a massive maturity date right when their liquidity has completely dried up. The money is due, the banks say no, and the investors are panicking. The math simply guarantees a corporate crisis. They might have amazing assets and a fundamentally solid business, but without liquidity at the exact right moment, they smash right into that debt wall and break.
Act 5. When giants fall.
So, what actually happens when the music stops? When a corporate giant inevitably breaks under the weight of its own debt, it doesn't just quietly fade away. A company that was just bragging about global expansion is suddenly having a fire sale on assets and laying off workers just to survive. And because they're massive, they are connected to everything: banks, thousands of employees, hundreds of suppliers, millions of investors. Sometimes a company gets so huge that its failure could crater the broader economy. It becomes too big to fail. This puts immense pressure on governments to step in with a bailout, but that creates a massive dilemma known as moral hazard. Think about it. If a company knows the government will always rescue them when things go south, it actually encourages them to make even more reckless, aggressive bets in the future. The safety net accidentally promotes the exact dangerous behavior that caused the crisis in the first place.
So let's bring it all together. What is the core takeaway of today's explainer? Debt itself is not inherently evil. It builds factories, it creates jobs, and it absolutely fuels innovation. But debt, fundamentally, is just a promise, and every promise has a limit. The paradox of leverage is this: the exact same debt that makes you powerful, that makes you look totally unstoppable, eventually becomes your absolute greatest weakness. When borrowing outpaces your actual ability to generate hard cash, the collapse happens faster than anyone expects.
We've seen how leverage destroys successful companies, how it shatters illusions of wealth and sends shockwaves through the entire economy. But it leaves us with a much bigger, frankly terrifying question. If a single corporate default can cause this much chaos and require a massive government rescue, what happens when it's the government itself? What happens when an entire country borrows too much, builds a mountain of sovereign debt, and the rest of the world loses confidence in their ability to pay it back? I want you to think about that, because that is exactly what we are going to unpack in our next explainer. Until then, keep asking questions and keep learning.